Let's be honest for a moment. The reason you are still watching videos like this has nothing to do with a lack of options, confidence, status, or personal value. If anything, it's the opposite. You are here because something in you knows there is a deeper layer to attraction and commitment that no one ever explained clearly. You were never taught the quiet rules, the unspoken rules, the psychological rules that actually govern loyalty in a woman's heart. And today, I'm going to speak to you the way someone should have spoken to you years ago. If a woman does one specific thing for you, and I mean consistently, without being asked, without being rewarded, without being pressured, it is one of the strongest indicators of long-term loyalty you will ever witness. Most men miss it because they're trained to look in the wrong places. Before we go any further, if content like this helps you understand women on a deeper psychological level and protect your emotional future, like this video and subscribe to the channel now. This channel isn't about tricks or manipulation. It's where psychology meets real life and where men learn the rules that were never handed to them. Now, here's the mistake most men make. You've been taught to measure loyalty by attraction, by sex, by attention, by how fast she replies, how often she initiates, or how intensely she expresses emotion. But those are not indicators of loyalty. Those are temporary emotional states. They fluctuate with mood, stress, novelty, hormones, social influence, and life pressure. Loyalty does not fluctuate like that. Loyalty is quiet. Loyalty is behavioral, and loyalty is almost invisible unless you know exactly where to look. A woman can desire you deeply and still walk away the moment staying no longer serves her sense of survival or self-image. Desire alone does not anchor a woman. Attraction alone does not keep her loyal. But when she does this one thing, her nervous system has made a decision about you that most men never realize has been made. Here is the truth most men never hear. Female loyalty is rooted in emotional safety, not excitement alone, not dominance alone, not generosity alone. Safety. And no. Safety does not mean boring. It does not mean predictable. It does not mean weak. Emotional safety means she feels psychologically protected with you. It means her guard lowers without her consciously deciding to lower it. It means she stops performing and starts revealing. And the behavior that signals this most clearly is this. She begins to self-regulate her own behavior to preserve the connection with you, even when you are not present. Let that sink in. She is not modifying herself because you demanded it. She is not doing it to avoid punishment. She is not doing it to earn approval or validation. She is doing it because losing alignment with you feels internally uncomfortable to her. When a woman starts adjusting her decisions, boundaries, reactions, and emotional responses in a way that naturally considers you, without resentment, without negotiation, loyalty is forming at a deep, subconscious level, and it shows up subtly. She thinks before she speaks when emotions run high. She corrects misunderstandings instead of escalating them. She protects the bond when outsiders try to destabilize it. She does not entertain attention that could threaten what she feels with you, even when no one would ever know. And the most important part, she does not announce these things. Loyalty does not need applause. If this is making sense so far, pause for 1 second, like the video, and subscribe, because what I'm about to explain next is where most men unknowingly destroy the very loyalty they crave. Here's the danger. Most men misinterpret this stage. They mistake loyalty for control, they test it, they push it, they get careless with her trust, or worse, they relax their own standards because they think they've secured her. That's when the shift happens. Loyalty grows in environments where respect remains stable, not rising, not falling, stable. Understand this deeply. A woman stays loyal when she feels chosen without being owned, desired without being consumed, and respected without being feared. When she starts acting in ways that protect the emotional space between you, she is telling you, without words, that you matter to her future self. That is rare. That is powerful. And if you recognize it early, You will never confuse attention with devotion again. But here's what most men don't understand. When a woman begins to emotionally self-regulate for you, when she instinctively protects the connection, she becomes more vulnerable than she has ever been with you. And vulnerability is not softness. Vulnerability is risk. She is risking disappointment. She is risking loss. She is risking being taken for granted. At this stage, her loyalty is not locked in stone. It is still forming. Think of it like wet cement. It holds shape, but it can still be damaged if you step on it carelessly. What she is watching now is not what you say. She is watching how you handle power. Power changes men. When a man realizes a woman is deeply invested, he often unconsciously shifts. He listens less. He explains more. He becomes reactive instead of grounded. He stops being intentional and starts being entitled. And the moment a woman senses entitlement, loyalty begins to decay quietly. Female psychology is extremely sensitive to imbalance. When she feels she is giving emotional consideration and you are coasting on it, her nervous system does not register anger. It registers danger. And danger does not trigger confrontation. Danger triggers withdrawal. Here is a hard truth most men never hear. Women rarely leave when they are angry. They leave when they feel unseen. So what does a loyal woman need in this phase? Not reassurance, not gifts, not dramatic gestures. She needs consistency of character. She needs to know that the man she emotionally invested in is the same man who still shows up when comfort is available. This is why loyalty grows strongest when you remain disciplined with yourself. You keep your word even when it would be easy not to. You maintain boundaries even when she would tolerate less. You stay calm in conflict instead of trying to win arguments. These behaviors tell her subconscious mind that aligning with you was a safe decision. Notice something critical here. Loyalty does not come from fear of losing you. It comes from trust that staying with you does not cost her self-respect. When a woman trusts that you will not exploit her openness, she stops scanning for exits. She stops keeping emotional backups. She stops testing you. Her mind settles. And when her mind settles, loyalty deepens. This is also why emotionally immature men never experience true loyalty. They mistake intensity for attachment. They think drama equals passion. But drama is instability, and instability kills loyalty faster than boredom ever could. If she speaks to you honestly, even when it risks friction, that is another sign. Silence is not peace. Silence is disengagement. A woman who clarifies, corrects, and communicates is investing. She is trying to preserve alignment, not dominate it. Understand this clearly. Loyalty is not something you extract from a woman. It is something she gives when she feels emotionally safe to do so. And the moment she senses that her loyalty makes her smaller instead of stronger, she will slowly reclaim herself. So if you want her loyalty to last, you must treat it as something living, something responsive, something that grows when respected and withers when neglected. Men who understand this do not chase loyalty, they inspire it. And here is the final truth. The most dangerous moment in any connection is not when things are unstable. It is when things feel secure. Because when a woman begins to feel emotionally anchored to you, she starts asking a deeper question. Silently, she asks, "Who do I become if I stay here long term?" And your answer to that question is not your potential, it is your patterns. This is where male self-improvement stops being optional. A woman can admire your ambition, tolerate your flaws, and forgive your mistakes, but she cannot stay loyal to a future that slowly erodes her sense of self. If being with you makes her feel calmer, clearer, and more grounded over time, loyalty strengthens. If being with you creates confusion, self-doubt, or emotional exhaustion, loyalty fractures internally long before she ever leaves. Women do not bond to words, they bond to emotional outcomes. How she feels after interacting with you matters more than what happens during the interaction. Does she feel understood or dismissed, regulated or drained, supported or subtly judged? When she starts organizing her life with you in mind, planning ahead, considering timing, integrating you into her routines naturally, that is another quiet sign. That only happens when she believes consistency with you improves her life, not complicates it. And here is the part that separates men who experience temporary devotion from men who experience lasting loyalty. A loyal woman watches how you treat yourself. If you neglect your health, your purpose, your discipline, she feels the weight of carrying emotional stability alone. And anxiety kills loyalty. If this video gave you clarity you haven't heard anywhere else, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay here. Because once you understand these rules, you stop guessing, and you stop losing women you never should have lost in the first place. If you want, I can. Make this even longer. Split it into multiple viral parts. Rewrite it for shorts, reels, or adapt it to a female voice, psychologist persona. When you manage your own emotional state, when you handle stress without collapsing, without lashing out, without transferring your inner chaos onto her, something powerful happens inside her nervous system. It relaxes. She feels she is standing beside a man, not carrying a project, not managing a liability, not stabilizing someone who should already be grounded. This is why stoic calm is so deeply attractive at a subconscious level. And let's be very clear here. This is not emotional distance. It is emotional mastery. It is the ability to feel fully without being ruled by feeling, to experience pressure without leaking it onto the people you love, to stay present without becoming reactive. Women do not crave numb men. They crave regulated men. Another crucial signal of lasting loyalty is how you respond when she expresses discomfort. Not how fast you respond, not how cleverly you respond, but how you listen. Do you listen to understand, or do you listen to defend? Not stabilizing someone who should already be grounded. This is why stoic calm is so deeply attractive at a subconscious level. And let's be very clear here. This is not emotional distance. It is emotional mastery. It is the ability to feel fully without being ruled by feeling, to experience pressure without leaking it onto the people you love, to stay present without becoming reactive. Women do not crave numb men. They crave regulated men. Another crucial signal of lasting loyalty is how you respond when she expresses discomfort. Not how fast you respond, not how cleverly you respond, but how you listen. Do you listen to understand, or do you listen to defend? A woman who feels heard does not need to withdraw. A woman who feels dismissed will eventually stop explaining herself. And when explanation stops, loyalty is already dying. Do not confuse loyalty with obedience. A loyal woman will still challenge you. She will still disagree. She will still push back. But she does it with the intention of resolution, not destruction. She wants alignment, not control. She wants to feel that conflict strengthens the bond instead of threatening it. And here is a truth that stings, but frees you. You cannot lock in loyalty by being perfect. You lock it in by being predictable in your integrity. She knows where you stand. She knows what you value. She knows how you respond under pressure. That predictability creates trust, and trust is the soil loyalty grows from. Men who understand this stop trying to impress. They stop performing masculinity. They stop chasing validation. They start becoming emotionally reliable. And when a woman experiences that steadiness consistently, loyalty stops being a question and starts being a choice she makes quietly, every day, without needing to announce it. That is when she stays, not because she has to, but because leaving no longer makes sense to her nervous system. There is a moment in every deep connection that almost no man recognizes while it is happening. It is the moment a woman stops testing your interest and starts testing your stability. The tests change. They are no longer about jealousy. They are no longer about attention. They are no longer about competition. They are about pressure, patience, presence. She may come to you emotionally raw instead of polished. She may express uncertainty instead of confidence. She may reveal fears she hides from everyone else. This is not weakness. This is her nervous system asking a single question. Can I be fully human here without losing respect? How you respond in these moments determines whether loyalty hardens or dissolves. If you minimize her feelings, try to fix her too quickly, intellectualize her emotions, or become defensive, she learns a dangerous lesson that emotional honesty costs her safety. And when honesty costs safety, loyalty cannot survive. But if you stay grounded, listen without panic, and respond with clarity instead of control, something powerful happens. Her body learns that closeness with you does not equal danger, that vulnerability does not lead to punishment, that presence exists even when things are uncomfortable. This is why emotionally mature men feel rare. At this stage, she also starts watching how you handle outside temptation, not because she is paranoid, but because loyalty requires exclusivity at a psychological level. If she sees you chasing validation, flirting for ego, or needing constant external approval, her nervous system registers instability. A man who is loyal to himself inspires loyalty in others. There is another sign most men completely misread. When a woman becomes less dramatic, less reactive, and more calm around you, many men assume attraction is fading. In reality, this is often attachment stabilizing. Drama is uncertainty. Calm is trust. But here is the danger. Calm can feel boring to a man addicted to emotional spikes. And if you unconsciously reintroduce chaos just to feel desired, you destabilize her attachment. Loyalty thrives in emotional order, not adrenaline. Another critical factor is how you handle her autonomy. A loyal woman does not feel trapped. She feels chosen. If you respect her independence, support her growth, and do not punish her for having a life outside you, she associates you with expansion, not confinement. Control kills loyalty faster than betrayal ever could, and here is something very few men are prepared to hear. A woman can sense when a man is loyal to the relationship, not just to her. Loyalty is not only about desire, it is about values. When she sees that you honor commitments, keep standards, and live by principles even when no one is watching, her trust deepens. At this point, her loyalty stops being purely emotional and becomes identity-based. She sees herself as someone who stands with you. This level of loyalty is durable, but not indestructible. Disrespect, complacency, and emotional laziness can still erode it. That is why men who keep loyalty long-term never stop leading themselves. They never stop paying attention. They never stop choosing integrity over ego. Because loyalty is not maintained by fear of loss. It is maintained by daily proof that alignment with you still feels like the right decision. If you understand this phase, you stop asking whether she will stay and start asking whether you are still the man worth staying with. Loyalty does not disappear all at once. It erodes quietly, in moments where a man thinks nothing important is happening. This is the phase where most relationships fail, not because love is gone, but because awareness is. A woman who has already given you loyalty does not announce when it starts slipping. She observes. She recalibrates. She prepares emotionally long before she ever prepares physically, and the trigger is rarely betrayal. It is emotional neglect. When a woman feels emotionally partnered but functionally alone, something shifts inside her. She starts carrying her feelings by herself. She stops expecting you to notice changes. She stops inviting you into her inner world. From the outside, things look calm. From the inside, loyalty is quietly detaching from the relationship and reattaching to her own survival. This is why presence matters more than intensity. Being present does not mean being available 24/7. It means when you are there, you are actually there. You listen without multitasking. You respond without dismissing. You engage without treating her emotions like interruptions. Those moments tell her she still matters beyond convenience. Another subtle factor is emotional leadership. A loyal woman wants to feel that someone is steering the emotional direction of the relationship, not reacting to it. When conflict arises, does chaos enter the room or clarity? Do you ground situations or escalate them? Emotional leadership is not dominance, it is regulation. Women stay loyal to men who make emotional situations feel manageable, not overwhelming. There is also the issue of gratitude, not verbal praise but emotional acknowledgement. When her effort is seen, when her care is recognized, when her energy is not assumed, loyalty feels like a gift. When it is taken for granted, loyalty feels like a debt, and no woman wants to keep paying for something that no longer gives return. Here is another truth men avoid: growth matters. If she grows and you stagnate, she will feel like she has to shrink to stay aligned. Loyalty cannot survive forced self-betrayal. This does not mean you must be perfect or constantly successful. It means you must be moving, learning, refining, becoming. A man who stays curious about life keeps a woman curious about him. Pay attention to how you handle her boundaries. A loyal woman sets boundaries not to push you away, but to protect the relationship. If you challenge, mock, or ignore them, you teach her that loyalty requires self-sacrifice. That lesson never ends well. And finally, understand this deeply. Loyalty lasts when a woman feels emotionally safe expressing her full range: joy, frustration, desire, fear, without being punished for any of it. When she can bring all of herself to you and still feel respected, she bonds at a level that is extremely hard to replace. Men who lose loyal women often say the same thing: "I didn't see it coming," but the signs were always there. Less sharing, less warmth, less effort. Not because she stopped caring, but because she stopped feeling met. If you can stay awake in this phase, if you can stay intentional when comfort tempts you to fall asleep, loyalty does not fade. It solidifies, because a woman does not stay loyal to perfection. She stays loyal to presence, growth, and emotional safety that remains consistent long after the honeymoon energy is gone. That is the difference between temporary devotion and lifelong alignment. Real loyalty is rare, and once it is lost, it almost never returns in the same form, not because women are unforgiving, but because the version of her that trusted you that deeply no longer exists. Loyalty is not a switch, it is a state of being she grows into with you, and when it breaks, she outgrows the relationship emotionally. The final layer of loyalty is when choosing you becomes automatic, calm, integrated, unquestioned. You are no longer a variable in her life. You are a constant, and that only happens when her emotional system has enough evidence over time that you are safe, steady, and self-led. This is where many men get it wrong. They think loyalty means tolerance, silence, distance, inconsistency. But true loyalty is not tolerance, it is alignment, and alignment requires maintenance. A woman stays loyal when being with you feels like an emotional home, not an emotional job. She feels at ease. She does not compete for attention. She does not monitor behavior. She trusts the structure you create together, and trust frees energy. That energy becomes devotion, but with that devotion comes responsibility. When a woman gives you this level of loyalty, you become a reference point for her self-worth. How you treat her becomes part of how she treats herself. That is why emotionally aware men never abuse loyalty. They honor it. They honor it by staying curious about her even years later. They honor it by continuing to grow, not because she demands it, but because stagnation breeds resentment. They honor it by choosing calm over ego, clarity over control, and presence over performance. A loyal woman does not need constant reassurance. She needs to see that the man she trusted still chooses integrity when no one is watching. And if you're wondering whether she's already there, look at her behavior when things are hard. Does she lean in instead of disappearing? Does she try to resolve instead of escape? Does she protect the bond even when emotions run high? Those are not habits, those are investments. Now here's the question that matters most. Ask yourself this honestly. Not defensively, not optimistically. When she watches how you show up in silence, in stress, and in comfort, does she feel safer or smaller? Because that answer determines everything. Here's the equation I want you to answer in the comments. Does being with you add calm and clarity, or confusion and effort to a woman's life? Write your answer. If this video made you see yourself differently, like the video, subscribe if you want truths most people avoid, and share this with a friend who needs to hear it before it's too late. Because loyalty is not something you demand. It is something you earn, quietly, consistently, over time. If you neglect your health, your purpose, your discipline. She feels the weight of carrying emotional stability alone. And anxiety kills loyalty. If this video gave you clarity you haven't heard anywhere else, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay here. Because once you understand these rules, you stop guessing, and you stop losing women you never should have lost in the first place. If you want, I can. Make this even longer, split it into multiple viral parts, rewrite it for shorts, reels, or adapt it to a female voice, psychologist persona.